Shalom and welcome to our Hebrew class, and this week we are going through Yehochanan, John 12 verses 16 to 20. So let us now begin. And again we have the Nikud, the valve markings and the resources for your benefit. For anyone who's fairly new to the valve markings, we have the example of how to use them. Now let us begin. And because we're in verse 16, we see that in Hebrew it's represented by a tet, which has a value of 9, and a 7, or a Zion value of 7. So we get 16. And then the letters are Vav, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Yod, Dalet, Yod, Vav, Lamed, Aleph, Hey, Vayet, because there's no dot there. And then we have a Yod, Nun, Vav, but it'll be an U sound because of the dot. Then we have Bayet because of the dot. Resh, Aleph, Shin, Vav, but this time it's an O sound. Then we have a Nun, Hey, Kaf, Lamed, Zion, Aleph, but Aleph is silent, but we see that after the Zion there's an O sound. And then we have an Aleph, Kaf, Sofit, Aleph, Chet, Resh, Yod. So let us begin reading. And it is V'Talmidayev. Talmidayev, which means, because we have Talmid in it, which we know is disciple, so therefore, and his disciples, it's plural, because of the Yod there. And then we have Lo, not, Hevi, Nu. Heavy Nu. Not they understood. So let's have a look at that word. Hevin is a verb to understand, to be aware. And then we have Barishona, at or in the first. Not they understood, at the first or in the first. And then we have Kol. And why is it Kol? And we have to look down here. Kol, it's a change and is only found as a short O in a closed and unaccented syllable. Normally closed is, or unaccented is normally the first syllable. And closed means there's nothing following the second consonant. So it's closed. Often you'll see it with the next letter having 2 dots under it also, but this becomes kol, which means all, and zot is this. It's just a grammar rule that they use, even though it looks like kol, but a very similar sound anyway. And then we have ak, which can mean but, acharei, but after. These things the disciples did not understand at the first, but after. Now let's read that. And it is V'Talmidayev lo hevinu barishona kol zot ak acharei. Right, now we go to part B, and we have an Aleph, a Shin, a Resh, a Nun, a Tav, a Pei because of the dot there, an Aleph, a Resh, a Yod, a Hey, a Vav, but a U, a Shin, an Ayin, Zion, Kaf, Resh, Vav, Kaf, Yod, Kaf, Nun, Sofit, Kaf, Tav, Vav, so Vav and Vayet, Ayin, Lamed, Yod, Vav, Vav, Kaf, and Nun Sofit. Now let's read it. Asher, which can be when, which, that, but in context, when. Nit pa'ar, nit pa'ar. Now the Nun, or the fel, gives us like something that's happened, was, right? And then we have the word pe'er, which is a PL verb, to beautify, to praise, to glorify. And pe'er as a masculine noun means magnificence, splendor and opulence, richness, right? Glorious. So, when was glorified? Yahushua, or Yahusha, Zakru, they remembered. Now we know that Zakar means to remember. So the vav at the end is they remembered. Ki, ken. And ki can be for or that. And then ken is so. For so, katuv. Katuv means written. Alayv, about him, concerning him in other words. The ken, and so. Now in the English it is, but after, when Yeshua was glorified, then they remembered that these things were written of him, and so. Right, now let's read that. And it is Ashir Nit Pa'ar Yahushua Zakru Ki Ken Katuv Alev the Ken. And then we have Gimel, Memsafit, Ayin, Sin, because the dot's on that side, Vav, but it's new sound, Lamed, Vav, but it's no sound. So we have Gum, also, Asu, they did, or they are done. And then Lo, to him. The Vav meaning him. Written of him, from the previous verse, and that they had done these things to him. Just quickly read that now. We have Gam, Asu, Lo. Turning to 17, and it's represented with a Yod value of 10 and a Zion value of 7. And then we have Vav, Yod, Ayin, Yod, Dalet, Vav, Hey, Resh, Bayet, Yod, Memsafit, Aleph, Shin, Resh, Hey, Yod, Vav, Aleph, Zadeh, Lamed, Vav, Bayet, Kuf, Resh, Aleph, Vav, Aleph, Lamed, Ayin, Zion, Resh. And now let's read it. Vaya Idu. Now, id is the root word there. Id. And id means to witness, to testify, right? So, and they witnessed, because the vav is they. And they witnessed with the prefixes being the vav and the yod to give us a completed action. And they witnessed ha-rabim, meaning many, ashir, that, ha-you, they were, etzlo. Etzlo. So what does that mean? Etzel is a prep meaning with, besides, close to, near. So let's put here close to, and then the vav is him. Bekaro. So be meaning in, the o is his, and we have kara, which means to call, right? So in his calling. And then we have El to Elazar, to Elazar, or to Lazarus, right? And many people testified about him who were with him when he called to Lazarus. Right, now let's read that. Vaya idu ha rabim ashir ha you et lo bekar o el azar. Then we have part B. We have Lamed, Zadeh, Aleph, Tav, Mem, Nun Safit, Hey, Kuf, Vayet, Resh, Vav, Yod, ayin, resh, aleph, tav, vav, mem, ayin, mem safit, hey, mem, tav, yod, mem safit. Let's read it. La set, to exit, right? To come out. Now, how do we get that? It comes from the word yatsa, where the yod is dropped off and replaced with a lamed. And yatsa is a kol verb to go outside, to exit, to leave, to emerge from. So we could say to emerge from, right? When he called Elazar to emerge from, to exit, min from, ha kaver, the tomb, from the tomb, vayar, and awakened. So let's have a look at that one then. And it comes, if we look at this one, it's got a hey in front of it, but it's got the same word, ear, ear. And this is ar. And ear is a verb to wake someone up. So literally, it's like and awakened or and awoke. From the tomb and awoke, or an awakened. Oto, meaning him. Me'im, which literally means from with, from being with. Ha-me-tim, the dead. And that's a plural form of the dead. So he called to Lazarus to come out of the tomb and raised him from the dead. See, the normal translation would be raised. In the Hebrew one, it's like awakened him from the dead. Which is the same idea, I guess. And let us read that. La tset min ha kaver va ya'ar oto me'im ha metim. And now we come to 18, which is represented by yod value of 10 and a chet value of 8. Then we have an ayin lamed, kaf nun sofit, hey mem vav nun sofit, a hey, an ayin, a mem sofit, a yod, a zadeh, an aleph, a vav, a lamed, kuf, resh, aleph, tav, vav, kaf, yod, shin, mem, ayin, vav. And now we read it. Al ken. Now normally together, al ken is translated as therefore. Because you could say it's like concerning so or therefore. Ha-man, the crowd. Ha-am, the people. So therefore the crowd of the people. Yatsu, they went out, because we know yatsa means to go out, to emerge, right? They went out, likrato, to greet him or to meet him. And then it's ki for, shamu, they heard. We see that shema is there. So they heard. Therefore, the crowd of people went out to greet him because they heard. And I've got here, likrat is a prep, and it can mean towards, in the direction of, when it's a prep. So, in other words, they went to greet him or to meet him in his direction, if you want to put it that way. Right. And now let's read it. Al-ken. Ha-mon, ha-am, yatsu, likrato, ki, sham-u. And then we have part B, and it is aleph, shin, resh, ayin, sin, hey, aleph, tav, hey, aleph, vav, tav, hey, zion, hey. Ashir, that, sa, he did, because a sa means to do, to make. Et grammar marker, ha'ot, meaning the sign ha'ot is a singular for sign. If it was signs, it would be ha'otot. And then we have hazeh, this. Of course, they have the grammar marker there too. For they heard that he had done this sign. Right, now let's read that. Ashir, asa, et ha'ot, hazeh. Alright, now we're in 19, and it's represented with a yod value of 10 and a tet value of 9, giving you 19. Then we have vav, hey, pei because of the dot, resh, vav, shin, yod, mem safit, dalet, bayit, resh, vav, aleph, yod, shin, aleph, tav, aleph, chet, yod, vav, lamed, aleph, mem, resh, hey, resh, aleph, yod, tav, mem safit, kaf, and yod. Now let's read that. The ha-perushim and the Pharisees, dibru, they said, because the vav is they, with the dot there, they said, ish, meaning a man, et, grammar marker, achiv, and it could be to his brother, because it just means brother, so to his brother would be best. Lemor, saying, ha-re-item, ha-re-item, do you see? Now we can see that ra'ah is a kol verb to see, to perceive. The hey prefix makes it a question. And then ki, that. So do you see that? The Pharisees spoke to one another, saying, do you see that? Now let's read that. The ha-perushim dibru ish et achiv lemor ha-re'item ki. And now part B, and we have a hey, a vav, an ayin, a yod, lamed, lamed, aleph, tav, vav, ayin, yod, lamed, vav, hey, nun, hey, kaf, lamed, hey, ayin, vav, lamed, mem safit, nun, mem, shin, kaf safit, aleph, chet, resh, yod, vav. Now let's read it. Ho'el, successful. If we look down here, ho'el or ho'el is a verb to help, to profit, to succeed. That helps us understand that. So successful, lo, not. To, ilu, you shall succeed. So successful, not you shall succeed. Translated normally as surely you will not succeed. And then we have hine, behold. Kol, again, the same story we had before. It's kol rather than kol. Ha'ulam, the world. So all the world. Nimshak. So what is that? Is being pulled. With the nun, it's like an action already happened. And the root word is mashak, which is a kol verb, to pull, to draw, to drag, to attract. So is being pulled. Acharev, after him. Because we know achare means after, and the vav at the end is him, after him. And then from the previous verse, do you see that? You shall surely not succeed. Behold, the entire world is drawn after him. And now let's read that. And it is ho El lo to'ilu hine kol ha'olam nimshak acharev. And now we come to 20, and it's represented simply with a kaf, which has a value of 20. And we have vav, ve, ta, vav, kaf, sofit, hey, ayin, lamed, yod, mem, sofit, lamed, hey, shin, tav, chet, vav, tav, bet, chet, gimel, aleph, nun, shin, yod, mem, sofit, yod, vav, nun, yod, mem, sofit. And it is uv, tok, and in, because the vet is always in, tok, the midst, and in the midst, ha'olim, now this time the ol, or the al in the middle means the going up, the ones going up, in the midst of the ones going up, because olim means like going, right? The goings. You could say it just simply means the goings up. The ones going up is normally how it's translated. Lehish ta cha'ot. Lehish ta cha'ot means to worship. The lamed, of course, is to. And it's a hitpalil, so it's to worship. Now let's have a look at the root of that. Shachar is actually the kal verb, and it means to bow down, to prostrate, and its Strong's word is H7812. It means to bow down, right? So that's what we do with worship, so it's related to that. And then we have Bechab. Be meaning in, and chag is the feast, in the feast, to worship in the feast or at the feast, right? And then we have anashim, man, yevanim, and it means the Greeks, right? So men of the Greeks. So even in the feast that came to worship were men of the Greeks, in other words, the Greek men. Among those going up to worship at the feast were some men of the Greeks. And then I've also included tok here, meaning a masculine noun for inside, interior, among, midst, middle. And then Allah is a kol verb to ascend, to go up. Right. And then we have uv tok ha'olim lehish techaot bechag anashim yevanim. And now we come to our revision, and let's see what we can get out of this. Firstly, we begin with seeing that it's a tet, value of 9, a Zion, value of 7. 7 and 9 is 16, so we're in verse 16. V'talmidayev, and his disciples, lo not, hevinu, they understood, not they understood. Ba rishonana, so try that again. Ba rishona, meaning in the first, or at the first. Kol, all, zot, this. Ak, but, achare, after. Translation, and his disciples, not they understood at the first all this, but after. Ashir, when. Nit, pa'ar, was glorified. Yahushua, zakru, they remembered. Ki, that, ken, so. Katuv, written. Alev, concerning him, about him. the Ken, and so. When was glorified Yahushua, they remembered, for so was written about him, and so. Gum also, asu, they did, or they had done, lo, to him. Also they had done to him. Then we have Yod 10, Zion 7, 17. Vaya'idu, and they witnessed. Ha-rabim, many. Ashir, that. Ha-yu, they were. Etz lo, near him. Bekaro, in his calling, because karo means to call. El to Elazar, to Elazar, Lazarus. And they witnessed many that they were close to him in his calling to Elazar. La set, to emerge from, to come out. Min, from. Ha, kaver, the tomb, from the tomb. Vayar, and awakened. Oto, him. Me'im, from with. Ha-metim, the dead. To exit, to emerge from the tomb, and awakened him from with the dead. And then Yod 10, Chet 8, 18, Alken, therefore, Hamon, the crowd, Ha'am, the people, Yatsu, they came out, Likrato, to greet him, Ki, for Shamu, they heard. Therefore the crowd of the people, they went out to meet him, for they heard. Ashir, that, asa, he did, et, grammar marker, ha'ot, the sign, haze, this. That he did, grammar marker, the sign, this. And then we have a yod, 10, tet 9, 19. The ha-perushim and the Pharisees, dibru, they said, ish, a man, et, grammar marker, achiv, to his brother, lemor, saying, ha-re'item, do you see? Ki, that. Translation. And the Pharisees, they said, a man, grammar marker, to his brother, saying, do you see that? Ho-el, successful, lo not, to ilu, you shall succeed. Hine, behold, kol, all, ha'olam, the world, nim shak, is being drawn, or being pulled. Acharev, after him. Successful, not you shall succeed, or surely you will not succeed. Behold, all the world is being pulled, is being drawn after him. And kaf, value of 20, uvtoch, and in the midst, ha'olim, of the ones, or the goings up, the ones going up. Lehish tachaot, to worship, bechag, in the feast, anaship, men, Yevanim, of the Greeks. And in the midst of the ones going up to worship in the feast, men of the Greeks. In other words, were men of the Greeks. Right, and then we come again to our vowel markings. We need to remember these. This one's called cholam, where there's a dot above the letter and it's an O sound like the letter here, cho. And here is a shava, which can be silent or which can be vocal, and it's usually like end of syllable, beginning of a new syllable. Then we have segol, which has the sound of the E sound, se. Then we have a zere, and it's often translated an AY sound, but it's actually an E sound, but a longer sound, se. And then we have short A sound, pa, tuck, pa, tuck. And then we have a long A sound, kamats, kamats. All right. And we went from 16 and we realized that we used the yod, but not in the case of 16. So 16 was a 9 and then together with a zayin. So a tet and a zayin, giving us 16. But then we went over to 10 and 7 was 17, and then 10 and 18, 10 and 19, and then kaf was 20. And just looking down here, we got a tav of 400, a shin of 300, a resh of 200, and a kuf of 100. By repeating these things each time, gradually we'll remember them. And of course, let us not forget our useful resources being the Beit HaMashiach.com. Very useful resource. And of course, the Do It in Hebrew Dictionary, which is very helpful in looking for the root word and the exact meaning of the words. And so we like to just thank you for another lesson again. And we just pray these are a blessing to you all. And we wish you a Shavua Tov, which means literally a good 7, or a good week, of course. And thank you.